I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah, to continue on in this article, it says Rep, right, which means, I don't know, she's Republican. Marjorie Taylor Greene sharply reacted this week to involving federal crypto policies, warning that the digital ID and crypto charges or changes, could force Americans into a stark choice: comply or die. Yeah, so this is we're coming to the end, and we can see this by the moves that Trump is making by grabbing up the president of Venezuela, right? Which this is something they must have been planning for years to do, right? Or doing some type of regime change or something. They planned on doing that for quite some time. I just seen a thing that was based on a movie, an old movie, saying that they were basically gonna do that, right? And it's like in fact, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this is business news. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene warns Americans will comply or die over digital ID and CBDC threat. Yeah. So this is by what? Kaufman News Chronicle, right? Kaufman News Chronicle combines cutting edge technology, human expertise to deliver the future and news today, right? And so they got over 100, so it's fairly new news thing. So saying that they got the good. So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Chodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To sisters, you achwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson.
Definitely Russia. Who else? China. Stop yelling at me, but China is the most major threat on the world stage.
Definitely Russia.
Definitely Russia. Who else? China. Stop yelling at me, but China. That's a good answer.
North Korea.
North Korea. Venezuela. Anybody? Everybody's cool with Venezuela? No threat? Okay. Let me ask you this. Which one of these places can claim to have the largest oil deposit on the planet? More than Saudi? More than Iran? Okay, what about things like gold? More than all the mines in Africa combined? Analyst predictions, as of today, have the chances of Venezuela's total economic collapse at 87%. On the news, they'll call it a crisis. But on the world stage, they'll call it a failed state. And if that's not bad enough news for you, well, Venezuela is also the only one of these places within 30-minute range from the U.S. with next-gen nuclear missiles.
Yeah, come back to this article. I don't know the name of that movie that's on, but this is something they've been planning to do. Obviously, they did it, so this is a pivotal turn within Edomite society, and this is something they've been wanting to do for quite some time, obviously. And for them to do it, it's a major step in the right directions as far as their eyes can see, right? Because a man, Scripture says a man see that his way is right in his own eyes, right? And that's basically what he's doing. In his own eyes, he's correct. He's doing the right thing. But it says Green's comments came in response to a year in policy op-ed shared the rep Warner Davison R, which must be a Republican of Ohio, whatever, outlining concerns about the U.S. stablecoin framework and digital currency trends. Davison said flat or declining crypto markets and regulators shifts include the 2025 Genesis Act stablecoin framework have eroded the industry's original disintermediation use case. Let's see if I can see what that means.
Disintermediation.
It's just to reduce in use of intermediations or intermediations between products and customers. Oh, right. For example, by investing directly into securities market rather than through a bank. So yeah, okay. So basically, it's saying it's going to jack up your ability to invest, right? Maybe that's what it's saying. Invest in the stock market. Yeah, insurities because that's what the scriptures talk about, being insurities for debt, right? For debts, rather than through the bank, right? So it's eroding, so you won't be able to invest. Basically, that's what it's saying. This stable coin or this digital thing won't allow you to invest or own anything. They spoke about that. You will have nothing, and you should be happy. Continuing on, he says he argued that an account-based system favored by the banks and new federal rules could lead to permissioned digital money tied to digital IDs, a cosmetic illusion of freedom. Right? And that's the time that you're living in. You live in the time of the MOTB. It's going to give you a cosmetic illusion of freedom designed to enable more surveillance, right? More surveillance, coercion, and control, right? Green responded by banning the commentaries, a very important read, and stressed her opposition to the Genesis Act, which she said cedes regulatory authority to banks and open avenues for central bank digital currency, right? And that's the time this man. And so these other camps, it's not speaking about the MOTB being the digital currency. It's because they sold out, or they're a that's well, you're gonna see that right now. The year with Apostle Hardin is the year of apostasies, sellouts, and agents, right? You're gonna see what these so-called men were all about, man. Because they're gonna have to show their, they're gonna have to pull off that sheep's clothing, right? You're gonna find out that they were wolves the whole time, right? Yeah. So it says you think you won't want to run a tax revolt if the government puts digital ID and CBDC and control your keys. You won't be able to refuse to pay your taxes. You'll only be able to comply or die, Green wrote. Right? And that's the time that you're living in, man. And a lot of you even under the and it makes sense for them to push it like this now, because that was like a test run with that whole what do you call it, the the little food stamp card thing, right? Snap, right? The snap thing. A lot of you were ready to comply. You know what I mean? No one spoke about we're gonna call on the Most High, and the Most High finna judge you, right? No one's saying how long is this man gonna rule, right? The only ones that's really saying it is the elect. How long, Lord? How long, right? Her stance highlights growing GOP concern over federal digital currency policies, digital ID system, and self conducts rights for cryptocurrency holders, right? Yeah, we could continue on here. It says analysts say debate over CBDC and identif- identify identif- identification link identifying linked money is likely to intensify in 2026, right? Because they finna crank it up. They finna push everything to be digital ID and digital dollars, right? As regulatory and lawmakers grapple with how to balance innovation, oversight, and civil liberties, right? Because they're gonna say, "Oh, you have your freedoms, but you don't have no freedoms. Comply or die. There is no civil liberties." Green warning is the latest flashpoint in that broader fight, right? She's highlighting this thing. Hey, man, this is what's gonna happen. Hey, this is what it is. Yeah, comply or die. Yeah. So this is Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. This is a Bible Hub, right? So it says Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, right? And this thing is causeth, right? And there's many versions, right? Because if it's either comply or die. That cause can have a totally different aspect to it, right? Because there is going to be a cause and effect type situation, right? Yeah. So this is a
Cause and effect.
cause and effect. This is a phrase of cause, the particular of causation, the post-Cartesian attempt to see everything. See, and that should be people's mentality. It should be your attempt to see everything, right? As governed by simple laws of cause and effect, because the scripture's speaking about being circumspect, and if you're analyzing everything that's going on, you could see what they're doing. That's the cause and effect, the operations or relation of a cause and its effect, right? Because that's what they have, the problem, reaction, and then solution, right? Which is basically cause and effect, right? Cause and effect plays an important part in the universe, right? And it's going to play an important part in your universe, right? Yeah, so I did this AI overview just to see that post-Cartesian era refers to philosophical, scientific, theological shifts, moves beyond Rena de la Cartes, right? Which might be this guy right here. Mind body dualism, recognizing the eternal connectedness of mind, body, culture, context, moving from isolated self-awareness to embodied experience and social constitutions, right? And it goes into social constitutions, unwritten laws, you see your neighbor's animal or something, you give him back. Someone drops their wallet, you give it back to him. That's how you're supposed to do certain things. That's how you're supposed to have these, to be, an upright society. You know what I mean? You don't do something with someone else's wife and certain things. You don't violate a man's space. You don't, you know what I'm saying? Just certain little laws that you do. But you got your own, these like the regular things, like the law that the Lord gave. You know, you know, live and let live. The law of the land, the earth. The earth belongs to everybody, supposedly, right? You're supposed to leave fruits and trees and things for the homeless and things so that everybody could live on in the earth. you know you know you're not, that's supposed to be regular law. Seeing the field like psycho not narrow no neurologist. Yeah, something like that, right? It says and contextual psychoanalyst that integrate internal states with external reality and social forces. Yeah, so you're supposed to be, it's just analyzing everything that's around you, right? Which really the best way to do it is problem, reaction, solution, right? Yeah, so this is Wiktionary. I mean, you can't make this. I mean, literally, they say Witctionary. So it's witchcraft all over. Yeah, that's just letting you know. Because I mean, it's spelled different, but they're letting you know. Wiktionary. Oh man, forget about it. Right? But it's a theory postulated by David Erie, in which the government or other higher power, right, which is the shadow government, which actually runs the government, right, which the true Illuminati, right, man manipulates the population by introducing a problem and then using their own means to solve the problem, which you've seen that during the CV19, right? All of a sudden, there's this novel virus no one's ever seen before, and in less time than you ever seen anything come of things you knew about, things they knew about for decades, and didn't come up with a vaccine that fast, ever. And a lot of people got rich and a lot of people got poor, right? But they want to tell you that it's a theory and it's just a figment of your imagination. And this is why you have to be aware of what you're feeling. You got to analyze everything, right? Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, the New International Version, and it also forced all the people, right, both great and small, so like rich and poor, free and slave, right? This is giving a better understanding, right? Because that's what there is. Bond meaning you're a slave, right? Whether you're in prison or you're on these, because we did see those slave ships during 2020 when Trump first got office, right? And that ain't slowed down. Just like all these Epstein Islands, right? It ain't just one Epstein. There's many of those islands, right? And they don't want to talk about that. So there's some heavy things going on in the earth that, of course, Yahweh Shai is going to come and rectify, right? To make it right. You know what I mean? He's going to, punishment is coming. Correction to the planet Earth is coming, right? Yeah. So you're saying free and slave to receive a mark on their right hand or in their forehead, right? Another one says cause. And this one says forced, right? So when it's comply or die, that's, that's one hell of a force of a way to get you. But then you still got, like I said, the problem, reaction, solution being, or causeth, right? And how do you cause someone to do something? You kind of make them an offer you can't refuse, right? During the CV19, what were they talking about? Yeah. So if you're analyzing and you've seen these things like this during the time of the CV19, you know where this thing is going, right? And so they didn't just mention just the digital ID. They mentioned it also being incorporated with the digital dollar or digital money. So what these other camps or what these other people are speaking about, that is spiritual, you don't have to comply and die when they're over something spiritual, when they're declaring what they're talking about it is, right? Why such a direct thing, right? Not to mention, was it J.D. Vance?
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous. The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous. The precedent here is very simple. If you could pay for your shopping with just a wave of your hand, this RFID chip works just like a contactless card. It's implanted into your hand, and once it's there, you can pay for groceries, open doors, and even unlock your car. What if you could pay for your shopping with just a wave of your hand? This RFID chip works just like a contactless card. It's implanted into your hand, and once it's there, you can pay for groceries, open doors, and even unlock your car. What if you could pay for your...
As you heard me right, Chip Girl. It is a type of technology that can do many things. One of them being opening a door. It also opens our bedroom door, as well as our office, as well as the drawers in our office. Our closet is chipped. And this is really cool. We can chip all of the doors. Look at it. We can even lock up our towels. See? We also chipped the gym. And the elevator. What the tech? Oh, whoops, it was already unlocked. Ta-da! We've also chipped the hallway and the cinema room. We also entertain a lot. So having a door and a door over there helps because we're able to lock it if we have parties and we don't want people to go on specific sides of the house. All it really is a form of technology that we can program to do cool things around our house.
So I wrote right here, you need to open your Bible. Well, it's too late. She already got it. And then maybe she's an Edomite on top of it. I mean, but maybe not. Maybe she's an Israelite who looks like an Edomite, but she got it. And, well, destruction's coming for you. That's it. Once you get it, you got it. That's it. Opening the Bible ain't going to do a thing for her. Right? But this is the time that you're living in. You know, they can unalive you. Right? According to the vice president. Right? They can go kidnap presidents from another country, bring them here, put them on trumped up, no point intended, trumped up charges, right? Bro, I mean, forget about it, right? Yeah, this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 17. So that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, the charagma, the grapho, right? Which, that's what that lady was using. Had the information, because how did that thing determine one lock from the other, from the car lock, from the house lock? Because it had the grapho, has the information, right? What they call a motherboard, right? Information, words, right? It's a program, so to speak, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? And it has the number, right, which is the information, right? Different numerical numbers or whatever, and which that numerical number is like a name. That's how they could tell between the car and the house. It has a numerical number of whatever, and that number represents house. This represents car. This represents, because she had her drawers, she had her closets where her towels and things were at. How did they know the difference between that and that? And it's because it's the number, the name, right? So it says and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, the charagma, grapho, or the name of the beast, right? The fourth beast, right? Which is the second kind of like a carnation, and so to speak, of the Roman Empire, right? Right, the second leg of Rome, or the one with the deadly wound that was healed and returned, right? That system, that's the one you're living in, right? Which is the mark, the beast system with the whore on the back, which is NATO, EU, and in America on the back, the whore that rideth upon the scarlet covered beast, or the name of, or the number of his name, right? So it's the time that you're living in, right? So it is what it is. So you got to be, well, scripture talk about being circumspect, right? And so this is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly. So yeah, see now that ye walk circumspectly, right? You got to be in life. It ain't just you, I'm going to go to work and get the money and pay the bills, get to work, get the money, pay the bills, and you're not paying attention to the signs of the time. Oh, did you hear about yeah, I heard about that, but I don't pay attention to the news. Oh yeah, I heard about that, but I don't, yeah, I seen that you could buy, they got because first they started with Whole Foods, right? They just got the palm joint, but we know in certain places they already got the micro C hip, which I showed you one. It was the micro C hip. He paid for his stuff. So that's not spiritual, right? And we know that they're all about the AI, all about the technology, right? So you got to walk, see then that, just one more time, Slakia. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So you got to be wise, man. Not simple-minded jakes, man. That's stupid, bro. Spiritual. It says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Yep. And we can see it now. 2026 is going to be, it's going to be upside down, bro. It's going to be crazy. And it's probably going to go crazy fast, too. Right? So wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is. Well, really, our Lord is Yahweh Shai, but of course, the Father is Yahweh. So Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, ultimately, in totality. But our Lord is Yahweh Shai, ultimately. But what was I going to say? But yeah, you got to figure out what the will of the Lord is. Not just doing your own thing, I guess. Just t-shirts and fringes, and everything's okay. That's like you have to be paying attention. This thing is very spiritual. It's not just circumstantial. Just I just happen to be an Israelite. I guess I'll just happen to just waltz into the chariots. No, hey man, you're gonna be tested. So you got to know what the will of the Lord is, and it can't be you getting the micro C hip. That's not the will of the Lord. That's ultimately what I want to say. That's not the will of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. It's for you to get the micro C hip. Period. Yeah. So this is Ecclesiastes 8:1. It says, "Who is as a wise man?" So are you wise? Which one of you are as a wise man? Is it IUIC? Is it ISUPK? Is it HOI? Is it Genesis, Sakari? Right? Who's as a wise man? Is it GMS? You got to pay attention, man. Because I would say GMS, right? Which I knew about the micro C hip before I even knew about GMS. But that's how I know they're on point. You know what I'm saying? It fits my spirit. I've been on, 16, 17, when the Lord showed me that, but I didn't know about a lot of other things though. I didn't know we were the Israelites. I didn't know none of that. The only thing I ever knew about of a surety was the micro C hip. And that was the first thing the Lord ever showed me. And who knoweth the interpretation of a thing, right? So when you're going into the micro C hip, it's the karagma, karax, graphel. You're breaking it down, and it told you no one could buy or sell save he that had the mark, right? And we know that this is Esau's kingdom, the one with the deadly wound that was healed. Because if you read, we'll go into 13, go back up and read the one with the deadly wound. So we know that's the Roman Empire. We know that that's the Edomites. We know that the Edomites are in control right now. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked, Job 9:24. And their whole thing is this technology. So if you got wisdom and you can interpret a situation, you got interpretation ability, you can interpret that and understand it has to be the micro C hip, right? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine. See? And then right there, you be shining. Like, you can see Apostle Hart. He's shining. Apostle Gabar definitely be shining. You know what I'm saying? He be shining, bro. Apostle Ramlab, they be shining. Apostle Rakad, they shine, bro. And all the other elders, the elders from because I always give up the elders, apostles, bishops from Connecticut. They be shining, bro. And not just their faith, it's the doctrine, man. Right? The truth always gonna shine. To those who with wisdom, right? And the and the boldness of his face, and they like is Apostle Har is a man of age, so to speak. I'm not gonna say he's anything else, but he's out there in the cold, the brick cold, and he's still teaching. So you see the boldness of his face shall be changed, right? And we're coming into the ultimate change where he's gonna be a young man all over again, and it's gonna be like that forever. I counseled thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of the power, right? So though these, we're under this, because people might read that the joint is it Romans, obey the master that the Lord gave over you, and this and that, and we do that to a degree. But when it violates the oath of Yahweh Bashem Shai, that's when we're not going to comply. You're going to have to we're going to have to be unalived if it comes to that. But the Lord has the power to save us, like Meshach, Reshach, and Abednego. He has the power to save us from the fire, from the firing squad, from the guillotines, from the prisons, from the concentration camps, from starvation, from the animals, right? From the nuclear missiles. He has that ability. Because why? We're keeping his oath. Why wouldn't he defend us? And that's wisdom. That's wisdom. It says, being not haste to go out of his sight. See? You don't want to be into, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm going to do this and that. Yeah, well, I'm Israel. I got my t-shirt and fringes, or hey, you might even not even be a t-shirt fringes guy. Oh, I'm GMS. And I'm good. No, man. No one's saved until you on those ships, right? No one's saved until you're on the ships. I mean, people get pride and all this other stuff because they're you're in this group, or you have this or you have that. Hey, man, I mean, no what you call them on you. You got the right teachers, you got the right, but you got to keep going. This is yeah. Can't let pride trip us up, right? Be not haste to go out of his sight. Stand not in an evil thing, right? We're gonna have to stick to Yahweh Bashem Shai, because everybody's gonna get tested, bro. The Lord's about to put your foot to the fire, bro. We're gonna see what you're made of, right? Right? Matter of fact, I think it says something like that in the scriptures, right? For he doeth whatsoever pleaseth him, right? Yeah, the Lord is going to judge you. He's going to test you, and you're going to get tested, and the Lord is going to judge you. But also a king. You got to be careful. These kings, things like Trump. These things, they got that power. So that's what we ain't going. We go no protests. We ain't trying to do all those other different things. Not trying to be into politics, right? Where the king where the word of a king is, there is power, right? And J.D. Vance was saying, hey, look, we got immunity. We gave these dudes immunity to do their job, and they can unalive you. So that's power, right? Who may say unto him, what doest thus? And that's why he not really, man, what you gonna do? You gonna go over and make this guy day miserable or whatever because you say so? No. We ain't having that. Right? But people are talking about protesting and doing their thing and going up against, hey, but this might be the time you might even see them while they talking about, was it Iran? How they doing that to their protesters? 35 protesters just got unalived in Iran. But that type of thing is going to be happening here pretty soon. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil, right? And you're going to keep the commandments, the laws of the land to the best of our ability until it violates the oath of the power. If it violates the oath of Yahweh Bashem Shai, we can't do that. But we're going to keep the ordinance, the speed limit. If I break the speed limit, I pay a ticket, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And if you, do whatever else, you do what you need to do according to the land until the law of the land violates, right? Which that's what it's about to do. It's about to make that digital ID, digital coin, digital dollars, digital money, however they want to say it, CBDC. They're gonna make it mandatory to the point that you have to comply or die, and we're gonna die, right? So whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart, la'ab, his mind, discerneth both time and judgment. So we're at the time of judgment. We're at the end of this thing, right? You know. So this is Proverbs 6:26, right? For by means of a whorish woman, which this is talk about an actual woman, adulterous woman, but Babylon the Great is a whorish woman, right? Right, it's the harlot, the mother of harlots. A man is brought to the price of bread, right? And that's what they're talking about doing, right? Making everything harsh to where you won't be able to get your daily bread. To your whole life is basically brought to just bread, right? A day's meal, where you may only eat once a day, right? To them, that's all you need. That whole 3 times a day and breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's to the elite. That's out the window. They don't give a damn, right? Says and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. See, and that's what they're about to do. They're about to hunt for your life, right? It ain't gonna be a game no more. You're gonna comply, or you're going to be unalived, right? So it says, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes be not burned? Right? Hey man, they're gonna put you to the test. But ultimately, them putting you to the test is really the Most High putting you to the test. Where's your faith at? Where's your wisdom? Do you understand what's going on? Do you know the will of the power of the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Shai? Do you know the will of your Lord, Yahweh Shai, which is the will of the Father, Yahweh? Do you know what's going on? Can you see where it's headed? Do you know you're in dangerous and perilous times? All right. Well, can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? Hey, it's a question. I answer. I'll say no. You know what I mean? It's gonna burn. I mean, how fast you walk, how what's it called? Skill, because I know people do that. They do that thing. They walk on coals, doing like that, and they become more agile at it. But we're all going to get tested. Our foot is going to be put to the fire, and we're going to see what kind of man that you're made of. Right? That's all it is. So, and when it's to the, what do you do? Do you give up? Do you faint? Do you give in? Do you just get the micro C hip, or do you? What do you do? You know what I mean? Saying so. With all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Baba Ball, and Kwam Yasharallah.